Welcome to another edition of What's Out There. I am your host, Robinson Edward Deming. Join producer Rob Francis and myself as we bring you new ideas, new truths, and news you can use. In this edition, we talk money with financial expert Diana Cox. Now, Diana is the Senior Agency Manager and National Recruiter for HBW, or Helping Build Wealth. Diana, I want to thank you for coming out and joining us today.
Thank you so much, Robinson. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Now, first off, just for the folks who are listening, explain a little bit about HBW, or Helping Build Wealth.
HBW is a marketing financial services company. We are insurance and financial services. We're out of Simi Valley, California, and HBW has been in business since 1991. Our goal is to help people learn of the financial services industry and become a part of it and help other people build wealth.
Now, so you talk financial setups then for people then. Would you say that's true?
Well, what we do is we go and we talk with people, normally one-on-one, in order to look at their financial portfolio and help them see where we can
make changes or improve their situations.
Look at their finances, look at their portfolio, and yes, improve and change, but see how they can better put their money to better use.
All right, and that said, now if I'm going to give you some age ranges, and you would tell me what kind of discussions you would have with these people about their financial situation. Start it off with 29 and under.
Okay. If I were going to talk with a family 29 and under, typically I would look at their family dynamics. I might be looking at a family who's just purchased a home, thinking about starting a family, or maybe a young couple who's already started a family and want to purchase a home, or maybe a couple who's already been in the home and they're looking at ways to make sure that they cover all bases of their financial plan should something happen to one of the family members. What people don't realize is when people are young, they have different financial needs than what a person in the middle age bracket has and what a person in the older age bracket has. So looking at a family, a young family, I want to make sure that I have something in place for them, not only to meet their financial obligations with their mortgages, but also they're probably looking at making sure that children go to college. So we want to set up something that makes sure that these areas are taken care of, so that it's not a big burden for them when the time comes.
Okay, well, when all of us were in our 20s, we sort of had this, we are invincible. We don't even want to think about retirement. We're just thinking about, what we're doing on Saturday night with our friends, or where we're going for a vacation. So this is something that people need to stop, maybe in maybe reverse their thinking and think more about their future financial situation.
Well, yes, I hear that a lot. Young people today, and even in my age bracket when I was that young, it was the same thing. I don't have time. I'm not going to die. There's nothing going to happen. I don't have the money right now. And that's typically the answer that I get from most people, is I don't have the money right now. The problem is, if you don't have the money right now, you're not going to have it tomorrow, you're not going to have it next week. So at some point, it's best to start looking at what you do have and seeing how you can utilize that money better for your future, rather than putting it off.
What about when we hit our, as you mentioned, our middle age, when we hit our 30s, and then when we had that, when they wore the black armbands because you're 40 and over, and then you reach your 50s and now your hair is kind of like salt and pepper. What changes? What things do we have to do differently?
Well, it's interesting because most people think when they get to be about 49, 50, they hopefully, when they were young, were planning on retiring. And what's happened when they get to that age bracket, we're finding that many people have worked 40 years of their life, 30 years of their life. They would like to retire, but they know if they do retire, they're going to be retiring with 40% of their pay. They've already been struggling all these years trying to make ends meet, and if they retire now, then they're going to lose a bulk of their pay, and they're not going to be able to retire. People who do retire later on, they find that many of them have to go back and work because they haven't put enough money away to be able to retire comfortably.
Wow. Okay. Now, speaking of retirement, eventually, should we be so blessed that we will reach that retirement age. So are there things that we need to do differently? Do we even need to continue saving or investing our money or looking at our finances when we do reach retirement?
Well, yes. When you reach retirement age, many people don't realize there are different places you could put your money at that time in order to allow your money to still grow and offer you a longer retirement plan than what you may thought is possible. Each person may look at a certain type of retirement vehicle and they think it's the right one for them, but it may not be the best one for that particular person, family, or situation. And with that, it's best to have somebody look at your portfolio to see what money is going where and how you could better utilize it in another area to make sure that you have a longer retirement. People are living longer today than they did in the past, and people are dying younger. Those are the two main things that we run into. And in both cases, people have not properly prepared themselves for either situation. So that's why we're here to help.
Okay, so we're living longer, but we're dying younger.
Those are two different scenarios.
Two different scenarios.
Yes. Yeah.
They would seem to contradict each other, but
that way, people are either living too long or dying too soon. Those are the two things that are happening. So either you're living too long and you're outliving your money, or you're dying too soon and you haven't protected yourself.
Oh, okay.
Or your family.
Real quick, when you do reach retirement age, is there any pitfalls that you need to look for? Obviously, if you retire at 62 or 65, it's not smooth sailing. Are there any kind of pit stops that if you don't watch out?
Yes, there are a lot of pit stops that you may not be prepared for. There are a lot of things that people don't realize. When you retire, if you have not planned properly, a lot of people think when they get on Social Security they're going to have it made. What I've found in dealing with the families and the people that I work with is people retired thinking that everything was going to be great, but they didn't realize what a cut Social Security is from that pay that they were receiving from that company. And they may not have put anything extra away, and if they haven't, then they don't have extra to fall back on. And I see many, many families who are struggling, and with the stock market the way it had been and people having lost a lot of their retirement, many people are frightened and they've gone back to work. Some have had to go back to work, and some went back to work to try to build up their retirement plans again. With it, I see it all the time that people, if they had someone who could sit down with them and show them the best way to be able to protect their money, they would have a better understanding of how to put it into a certain area so that they could have more money for a longer period of time.
That sounds very interesting, and some things I certainly wasn't looking at myself. Now, with the retirement, if they do go back to work, how does that affect?
Well, it depends. If a person's on Social Security and they only get so much per month, if they go back to work and they make more than a certain amount, then they can actually have some of their Social Security withheld. And I can tell you that it truly happened to a friend of mine where he had worked, and when October came, he got a letter from the Social Security Administration saying that he had worked, I think, a week more than he should have, and with that they were holding his whole month of Social Security, and that came at Christmas time.
All right. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about this financial review that you give people. Okay, now you are locally based, right? Now you are in Columbia.
Yes, sir.
All right. I believe the phone number, if you folks want to talk to Diana, is 803-776-1153. Or they can send you an email at helpingbuildwealth, all one word, at hotmail.com. All right. And please return with us after the break for more of Diana Cox and What's Out There.